Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here with Baroness Brady. We've both come all the way from Westminster to attend LEAP, although for Karren, it's actually the second time she's been here at LEAP, and you are here as one of the judges of the rocket fuel competition this afternoon, the great competition we were just hearing about there. Pretty exciting?
Yes, it was fantastic last year. The judges get to listen to a mini pitch by lots of new and innovative businesses. We get to ask questions, and the winner gets a fantastic platform to showcase their business. They get financial support, they get mentorship. It's an incredible competition. We heard some incredible stories of innovation and technology, as we've heard throughout this exhibition. So I'm really looking forward to it later.
Well, you don't know what you're going to get this year. What about last year? Any of them that stick in your mind?
Well, there were quite a few. There were lots that were based on sort of the Airbnb model, but for various different technologies, whether that be shipping containers, whether that be nurseries, homeschooling. There were some really broad and varied range. So it's a great opportunity to hear about some new innovation.
Now, let's talk a bit about you. You were really a groundbreaker as a woman in professional football. How did that happen?
Well, it happened for me in 1993, and I saw a little advert in the Financial Times. And this advert was very simple. It said, "Football club for sale." And I thought it was very interesting. And I got the details, and I went to my chairman at the time, and I said, "There's this football club for sale. You buy it, and I'll run it." And he said to me, "Karren," he said, "very male-dominated. You'll have to be twice as good as the men to be thought as even only half as good." And I said, "Well, luckily that's not difficult." And he said, "Go on then, we'll give it a go." And we did. And I was 23 years old at the time. I was desperate to look 25. And my career in football started.
And that was Birmingham?
That was Birmingham. And we sold that business for £85 million, bought West Ham, now valued at £1 billion. I mean, the Premier League is a strong and the best league in the world. I sit on the broadcast committee where I help negotiate the television contracts, which run into many billions of dollars. So it's a fantastic industry. Very proud to be involved.
And what's it been like for a woman in that very masculine world?
Well, 30-odd years ago, much more difficult than it was today. Being a woman and a young woman in a male-dominated environment was very difficult.
And a glamorous woman as well.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. But I'm the kind of person that I had a fierce determination to prove that what I was going to do with this football club would change the way people perceive football, would add value to football clubs, would win awards, would play in the best league in the world, would promote diversity and equality, would practice what it preaches, would be a huge and impactful part of its community. And all of those things have been my ambition, which I've achieved.
And how has it changed? I think I'm right in saying we still haven't had a female head coach, manager of a Premier League team.
No, we haven't, but we do have a new birth of Women's Super League football. West Ham has a team in it, and that is a sport that is growing very rapidly. It's a sport that needs investment because it has lots of infrastructure issues that are being worked through. But young women and young girls are taking active involvement in both the men's game and the women's game. And these are opportunities that are growing to involve a wider selection of people into the professional game.
I think we've just had the first £1 million transfer in women's football, isn't it?
Yes, that's right, yes. So it's growing. I mean, if you think about the gap between men's and women's football, it's big. But that gap is closing all the time as the interest in women's football grows.
And at West Ham, do you have a women's team?
We do, yes. We're in the WSL.
And West Ham is now in what was the London 2012 Olympic Stadium. I mean, I'm sure you remember the summer of 2012. I mean, that event, or bringing that event to London, really seemed to make a great sort of change in the national mood to a certain extent.
I mean, the Olympics are fantastic. They're great for a local community. They give you a world stage, and you can showcase all the things that are wonderful about your country. And the 2012 Olympics certainly did that for London. West Ham took over that stadium, redeveloped it. It's now a 62,500 capacity, completely sold out. 50,000 people on a waiting list, a paid-for waiting list to get a season ticket. 35,000 families in that stadium every week. It's an award-winning, groundbreaking heart and hub of the community.
And that was repurposing the new Olympic Stadium in Stratford.
Yes, it was. If you imagine an Olympic stadium, everything in a football stadium is inside the bowl. In an Olympic stadium, it's all outside the bowl. So you needed to put turnstiles in for people to get in, all of the facilities inside, whether that be toilets, bars, and so on. So all of that was reconfigured in a way that made it an incredible modern stadium with every mod-com possible.
And you had to fight off London rival to get the stadium, Spurs.
Yes, they wanted the stadium. They didn't get it. They didn't get it.
Okay, congratulations on that. And how do, clubs in London, football clubs are very local, attached to the local community. You've got Chelsea in West London, you've got Arsenal in North London and Spurs in North London. How did the fans react to the move?
Well, we did lots of polls and worked with our supporters. They were very supportive. I think 90% wanted to move. They saw the opportunity. We had a small stadium, 35,000, and having the ability to move into a double capacity gave us all of the ability for more people to come, as well as the increase in revenue to drive more success on the pitch, which took us into Europe, which has taken us up to the highest position. We've been 6th in the Premier League. Deloitte's recently wrote a report to say that West Ham is the 15th most valuable football club in the world, 7th in the Premier League. So all of those things have become possible with a better infrastructure, bigger stadium, and better platform.
And for 2030, here the Kingdom is bidding to host alongside Greece and Egypt. Would you say go for it?
100%. As I said, it gives you a real opportunity to showcase what you're about, to show the world. If you look at an exhibition like this and the traction that it's getting and the people that it's bringing together and the worldwide recognition of the excellence that it's doing in this field, this is one opportunity of many, I'm sure, that the Kingdom will have in the future.
And what about women in the workforce? You're a campaigner to get women in. I mean, how do you feel when, for example, in the tech sector, there are 30% plus women in the tech workforce in this country, whereas in Britain and in Europe and the United States, far fewer women?
Yes, well, as women, we've been playing catch up in lots of various different industries, particularly in the gender pay gap. For every pound a man makes, a woman still only makes 86p. So we're closing those gaps. But you see women starting to have the courage and determination to change the course of what they want to do, and realizing that they understand their worth. They are prepared to step outside their comfort zone to get that worth, get that credibility, and show that determination to get the career that they want. I mean, for me, I'm very focused on leadership, and I always say that leadership should never be confused with management. Management is about setting out a series of goals and managing people to deliver those goals, very important, but it's not leadership. Leadership is about vision, and sometimes it's a vision only you can see, and your job is to persuade people into delivering that vision, to buying into that vision and helping you fulfill that vision. And women are great in leadership roles. They galvanize a collective spirit. They manage people's hearts and minds. The minds thing is about telling people what's expected of them, where you're going, where the company's going, what's their individual role in that journey. And the hearts thing is about giving them a respect for the work that they do. So women are great in leadership roles, in bringing those things together, seeing opportunities, working in a collaborative way. And we're seeing more and more women getting seats around that table.
And have you felt, as you move around business, in politics, a sort of boys' club trying to shut you out?
Well, look, women are criticised from everything, from the way we look. We're too fat, we're too thin, we're too outspoken, we're not outspoken enough. We're a working mother, that's criticised. If we're a mother who doesn't work, that's criticised. So we get a lot of criticism from a lot of areas. But lots of women are shrugging that off now. They are not prepared to be put into a box or to be told what they should hope for and what they should expect. They're clear on what their vision is. I do a lot of mentorship with women, and it's, the most important thing I say to everybody who's starting their career is don't be afraid to be ambitious. Being ambitious, people are terrified to say, I'm an ambitious individual, because we tend to think ambitious people are ruthless people, and that's not true at all. Ambitious people are people that will not settle for anything less than what they want. They have an idea of what they want to go for, and they're not going to let anyone hold them back. Because we all know that you actually only know how good you are at something until you try. And it's that ambition, that drive, that irrepressible attitude that gives you that confidence to try. And I'm seeing more and more women being encouraged to be ambitious, to think big, to understand their worth, to not be afraid to speak their mind, to be assertive, to open their own businesses if they can't find businesses to work in that will respect them and value them, and to start fulfilling their ambitions, and that's a good thing.
And of course, all around the world in the political sphere, there were battles for women to get the vote, and then for women to become representatives in Parliament. And there again, you were appointed to the House of Lords, the second chamber of the UK Parliament. How did you find that?
Well, I've been in now for, I think it's 9 years, and I'm still getting used to it. A lot of people misunderstand what the House of Lords does. The House of Lords does not make laws. It does not block laws. Its role is to amend laws.
And it debates laws, discusses them.
Well, we are invited by, in my case, it was Her Majesty the Queen, it will now be His Majesty the King, to enter Parliament based on a lifetime career of experience. And when legislation comes down from the other house, our role is to look at that legislation and advise government on potential unintended consequences, what might happen if in the industry, in the chosen field we are experts in, mine happens to be business, there's scientists, innovators, medical people, lawyers and so on, and our role is to advise government how to amend that legislation to make it better. 95% of our amendments are accepted, actually. And that is the role of the House of Lords. So it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of consideration, it's a lot of advice, it's a lot of feedback.
And can you think of things that you picked up and said, I wouldn't do that if I were you?
There's been so many over 9 years, particularly around sports, around women in business, a lot around some more violence against women issues. So a big and a varied portfolio of various different interests.
And do you find it's still majority male? Do you find people are willing to listen?
Oh, 100%. All the women in the House of Lords are there for a reason. They are not shy. And they are very, determined to speak their mind, make their mark, and put their amendments through. The House of Lords is very different to the House of Commons insofar as it's much less political. The raised voices and the animation that you see in the Commons is not replicated in the Lords. It's a much more collaborative...
Well, people say they're half asleep, a lot of them.
Well, you might say that. I could possibly say that. No, but our role is very different. Our role is advisory, using a 30-year basis of knowledge in which to give that advice.
And did people outside look at you different when you became a baroness and a lady?
Not really. I mean, I don't really use my title. I have a television show in England called The Apprentice, which gets 9 million views a week. It's a very big show. My counterpart on that is actually Lord Sugar. He does use his title.
In the House of Lords,
yeah, we're both in the House of Lords. I don't use my title. I think it's because I've been known as Karren Brady for a whole career. It's quite difficult for me to change that. But no, I think it's a great honor, and I'm very proud of my title, but I don't use it, and I don't expect to be treated differently as a result.
Do you think The Apprentice was what made Donald Trump president? The American version.
I'm sure it had a large part to do with it. I mean, it's a huge platform, a show watched by millions of people. It gives you a platform and a stage in which to tell people who you are and what you stand for. So it does give you an edge.
Now, here we are at Leap, a tech conference. How tech are you?
Pretty tech savvy. I mean, obviously, when I see some of the things that are being exhibited here, it's incredible, mind-blowing. But, you know, technology is about innovation, changing the way we do things, how we interact, how we do things better, more efficiently, how we get the most out of what we have. And there's so many wonderful examples in that hall of people doing just that.
And in your day job in football, tech and data collection, data analysis is really transforming sport, isn't it?
100%. We know everything about our customer, and that gives us an edge. When we know about our customer, our sponsors know about our customer, and that gives value. So it's all really, for us, a lot of it is CRM, a lot of it is understanding the customer's journey, and the amount of technology that we put in to bring our supporters closer to our footballers. Because, you know, years ago you would see them, now they have their own entrance and stuff.
And you monitor the players as well, their performance.
Yes, sports technology and sports science is a huge part of our business. And ensuring that they are at peak performance and how they're at peak performance, and what they might need to help them get to peak performance, recovery from injury. Those things are where technology has come on leaps and bounds in my 30 years.
And that has, to a certain extent, professionalized. I don't know how to put it. You know, we used to think of footballers and managers as spending a lot of time down the pub, being pretty boisterous, and that's sort of slightly gone out the window, hasn't it?
100%. I mean, footballers are professional athletes. Their body is their job, effectively. So they monitor all of the time their health, their well-being. They monitor their fitness levels, their recovery levels, their up-down, their downtime, the length of time it takes from injury to stress testing every part of their body, what they eat, how they eat, when they eat. All of these things are very important. And it gives them, even if it gives them a 1%, 5% edge, every little bit of edge they can get helps.
And how big do you think professional and international women's football is going to get?
Oh, I think it's going to go all of the way. I think that it is a growing sector. If I was going to be investing in the industry of football, I would be investing in women's football. It is growing. If you think at the amount of viewers the BBC got for the Women's Lioness final, I think it was 12 million. I think that just gives you a small taste of what's happening in the UK. You replicate that in the States and further afield, you start to see a massive amalgamation of audiences and interest and potential sponsorship revenues, as well as the ability for it to be inclusive and diverse. I think it has a great potential.
And as a manager of a sports team, when you look at technology, what are the things that you think, oh, I wish I had that ability to do that, the device to do that would improve the efficiency?
Well, when you buy a striker, if you had a device that could tell you if he actually will score goals when you buy him, that would work very nicely. But no, I think you have to think about football as a very unusual industry. We don't manufacture anything. We don't make anything. We don't produce anything.
Except for replica kits.
Well, we don't make that. That's made by the kit manufacturers. All of our assets are people. So the management and the welfare and the progression of people, people's skills, people's talent, people's wellness, all of those things are really important to us. So any technology that helps us to deliver that is vital.
Baroness Karren Brady, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
And you'll be seeing lots more of Karen in the big competition, the rocket fuel competition coming up later this afternoon. Stay tuned.